Hi everyone, it's Richard here again from lazyprofits.co.uk, and this is video 4 in our series of how to complete a number of spreadsheets in order to make it easier for your accountant to do your year-end accounts and ultimately save you money. So in our last video, video 3, we went through putting in some bank transactions for month 1 into our spreadsheet. And this is the screen that we completed. Now what I want to do here is I just want to show you a few simple checks you can run on this spreadsheet after you've completed it to make sure you've completed it correctly. Basically, any checkbox should be green, ideally, and if it's red, that generally means there's a problem. So let's just have a look through and go through some things that perhaps you may do inadvertently wrong when completing this spreadsheet. There's not too many things you can do, so that's good, but let's just have a quick look. So this first line, if you remember, was our cash receipt for the sale under invoice 1. Now, if you remember, I said that any cell between rows J and M had to be a negative number. Now let's just assume that you'd put that in as a positive number. Two things will happen. Firstly, that cell goes red to tell you you've put it in as a positive, not a negative number in one of those 4 cells. And secondly, you'll get a red warning at the end of this row. So that's just one check to make sure, again, as we've always been saying, cash in negative number, or sale negative number, expense positive number. So let's just put that one back. You can see when we put that back, cell disappears, cell changes back to being white, and the check turns to green again. Let's assume you'd filled everything out, but you would, now let's assume a slightly different one. You had inadvertently missed off this row. Okay, so I'm going to delete out that cell. Let's say you carried on and you didn't realize that you'd missed off that row. Again, just check the checkboxes at the end of this column, and again you'll see that you've got a red warning there, and that's showing you that you've missed off this line. So let's go and put it back in again. I can't remember what it was. It was salary. So again, let's put that in, and you'll see our checkbox back to green. So let's imagine you did the wrong amount now. So with this amount, let's say instead of 713, you typed it in wrongly as 723. Okay, again, this will trigger an error on this right hand side. So you'll be able to just go in and amend that back, and you'll pick up that error quite quickly. I'd have thought, put it in the 713, and again you're back to making sure everything's good. And finally we'll do, let's imagine you put I guess it's the same as before, but sometimes let's just delete out these next 2 rows, and let's say you were doing Keycuts Limited, but as you picked up the number, you got the wrong line. You got the £50 instead of the 15. Now again, that will give you an error on the 2 rows. So it does work out quite nicely. Once you've completed your analysis, you should always check that the right hand side is always green, and the left hand side, these checkboxes are green as well. So assuming everything's good there, there's just one more thing that you need to check, and that's to go to the summary page. And the idea behind the summary page is really to summarize all the monthly tabs into one spreadsheet. Your accountant is going to absolutely love this tab. It makes preparing your set of accounts after this point really straightforward. So as you know, we've just completed our January tab, and basically you can see our total cash in here was £2,650, and our total cash out was £2,150. 50 pence, and that gave us a closing balance or a net balance on the cash in and cash out of 500, and a closing bank balance, and this is your brought forward bank balance, which we said was 0, a 500 increase in the month, so our carry forward was 500. Okay, and if you remember all the way back to one of our earlier emails, I think it was video 1, when we went and extracted the bank details, one of the things that I said you need to take is the ending bank balance. And in that video, if you go back, you'll see that our ending bank balance was £500, and here we need to check that our ending bank balance equals our carry forward bank balance for that month. So as you can see there, £500 ties back to that bank balance. And then further on, if you carry on, you'll start to see that it totals some of those columns that we've been filling out. So you can see our total sales in the month, or cash in from sales, I should say, was £2,600 in the month. Bank interest received was 50 pence. Okay. We paid loan interest of £100. We paid a salary of £200, dividends of 150, and so on and so forth. And over here, if you recall, we changed expense 1, which starts here, and expense 2 and expense 3. Expense 1, we changed to postage, and if you remember, we changed that postage cell by changing the static on that expense here to postage, and that gave that's changed it everywhere that we needed it to. So we haven't had to change this cell; it automatically links from the static tab, and likewise telephone and rent paid. Okay, and there's another checkpoint here, which again you should be green. Now let's just go and do one of those earlier errors. So we'll go back into our month 1, and we will delete the salary, 200. Okay. Now not only does that alert us here as a red cell, it'll also alert us on the summary tab that we've got a problem. So all of these checks link through. Everything has been done here to try and make it as simple as possible. So back on that summary tab, we've analysed all our expenses, and every month this spreadsheet will do the same thing. So in February we'll do the same thing, in March, April, etc., etc. Now what you can see is going to happen is you're going to start to build up, months of data here, which is going to be really useful. Let's say next month sales invoices, or sales receipts comes to £5,000. We've almost doubled our sales receipts. Now that could be, then we can as a business start to analyse why that might be. Did it go to 5,000 because we chased for some old invoices to get paid, or did we just simply have a better month, or did we raise some invoices that were higher value than in January? It really gives you some detail as to what's been going on in the business to drive that. And similarly, as we start to see the expenses build up, we can start to see where we've spent, where our money's being spent. Is it on fixed assets, for example? Is this going to grow and grow over time? Why is that? Are we starting to increase our offices, change our offices, refurbishments, things like that? And similarly, are we taking out a lot of cash, for example? We'll talk later on in some of our videos that taking out cash isn't necessarily a great thing, because you lose the detail behind why you're withdrawing that cash. Are we getting our mix between salaries and dividends right? Are we taking out more of a salary than dividends, or is that about equal? There really is quite a lot you'll find that you can get from this analysis. is telephone expense, our telephone expenses too high? Do we need to change providers, etc., etc. So that's just a little overview there of what we've done so far. I hope you found everything easy to date. That's the idea of the website and the idea behind lazyprofits.co.uk. And again, getting these analyses, this analysis of bank statements done is really going to cut down your accountancy bill, really going to save that accountant some time, and ultimately save you expense. So really hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll be back next time looking at some of the other aspects of saving you some money. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any issues with the spreadsheets as you work on them, please do get in touch with us. Our contact details will be underneath this video. It's been great talking to you. Have a great day. And once again, it's Richard here from lazyprofits.co.uk. Thanks very much. Bye for now.